Good evening, everyone. Welcome to our team huddle with Share Wellness. I am excited tonight to go over some recognition and a few announcements, and then actually pass the call off to Sean, and he's going to go over some good takeaways on running a virtual business. So thank you for being here. I'm excited to dive in. First, I want to kick things off with recognizing the very first week of June. As you guys know, it's June 13th, so we're already through a week and a half of June. The very first week was exciting because we kind of had some new people show up on the leaderboard. So I want to give a huge shout out to my sister, Courtney. She sold her very first challenge pack to a friend of hers who had been asking her what she's been up to, and got on the leaderboard with personal volume and successful points. So way to go, Courtney. And then also Brianna Arkema, who's a newer coach joining our team, and has done a great job within, the people that she works with, just being honest and sharing what she's been up to. And she had a great first week of June as well. So I'm really, really excited, you guys, for us to have a solid summer. I know summer is crazy, but I know that if you remain consistent, you can do big things in June. So let's keep up the good work. Next, a couple announcements. Really, we've been over a lot of them as far as the new challenge packs that have launched, the new 14-day free trial, things like that. If you have any questions, please don't hesitate to reach out to myself or your upline coach. But the only other one I did want to touch on is a reminder for those of you who did hit Success Club last month. You should have gotten an email about the upcoming Success Club incentive for last month, which was a personal development call with John Maxwell. So make sure that you're taking advantage of that. And then the only other announcement I believe that we had to touch on was, let me pull it up here. Okay, never mind. That summit deadline is already over. So the only other one then to talk about is Sean Week, which, as you guys know, is going on right now. And so I've seen a lot of you guys do an awesome job of sharing about that on social media. I even saw a couple of you guys go live doing the workout, which is awesome. Sean Week is exciting. We haven't had brand new workouts from him in a long time, and so I know we've kind of talked about it leading up to now, but it's fun to actually see those just drop into our Beachbody On Demand library. I hope you guys have had, smooth sailings with that, and none of your clients have had issues loading the workouts. Most of mine have been pretty good, but definitely make sure that you're checking in with them, asking them if they've tried the workouts or if they've noticed. I have some clients doing doubles with the Sean T workouts, and if they haven't done very much cardio, they're like, whoa, what is this? So definitely make sure that we stay excited and alert all throughout Sean Week so that we can continue to show how much just variety Beachbody On Demand has to offer. Otherwise, I think those are actually all the announcements that I have for now. I will, say the only other thing is that the rank that you wake up with on Thursday morning will be the rank that you get recognized for at Summit. And so I know not all of you are going to Summit, which is okay, but I did want to make sure that I mentioned that whatever you wake up with on that morning is where you'll be on the boards. When they highlight everybody on the wall and things like that, that's where you'll fall. And so if you're pushing to make sure that, you wake up with a certain one, make sure Thursday morning you're aware of that. So I think that's it. Otherwise, I'm going to pass things over to Sean. He's going to kind of take it from there. And I look forward to chatting with you guys again, maybe at the end. If we have any time for question and answers, we'll do that. So I'll be right back. I'll go give him the next spot.
What's up? Hey guys, so I'm gonna hop on today. We're gonna try to trade off. If you've been on these over the past few weeks, we usually try to trade off on kind of a different topic each week, just to hopefully kind of motivate you guys, give you some insight or advice or motivation, kind of hopefully trying to pick something that hopefully relates to you guys with where you're at right now in your business and kind of what we're all going through together. One of my favorite parts about Beachbody and pursuing this business as a coach is the team and you guys, and just having this community of people, not only just as challengers in our challenge groups, but together as coaches, right? There's a lot that we go through. There's a lot of challenges, hurdles. There's also great successes, like hearing about recognition is a lot of fun and makes us really happy. So we're glad to share that with you guys here. So kind of what I wanted to talk about today, guys, was, well, first, if you haven't yet had a chance to listen to the National Wake Up Call with Julie Voris, I believe was her name, please make sure you do so. And if you don't know how to do that, the easiest way I can tell you what works best for me is to simply just go to your podcasts So if you have an iPhone, there's the podcast app usually right on your main screen, and download the Beachbody. I think it's like Team Beachbody is the podcast, and they have all of the national wake-up calls uploaded onto there. So for example, if you're going to work or you have time over your lunch break or something like that, you can listen to that wake-up call. It's about 30 to 45 minutes, somewhere in there. But they are just packed with tons of insight, motivation, encouragement from successful coaches in the business, right? And who better to learn from than people who have been there before us? So one of the big topics that she drove home, and I'm not going to try to duplicate what she did because she did an excellent job in this wake-up call, was she really hit home kind of this idea of does not require talent. A lot of this business does not require specific or unique talents. And she really hit home concepts like work ethic, discipline, consistency, things like that. So I'm going to touch on that a little bit, but then I want to kind of tie this into kind of this concept of what running a virtual business looks like, because that's, for a lot of us, that's a large part of what we're doing day in and day out. So what I kind of want to start with is this phrase that I don't remember where I heard it, I don't even know if when I initially heard it, it applied to Beachbody, but I think it applies so well to what we experience day in and day out as coaches. And that is, this business is simple, but it's not easy. So it's simple, but it's not easy. So what does that mean? So it's simple, right? I love how Julie put it. She says, you push play, you drink a shake, you read a book, and you start conversations. That's the 4 vital behaviors, right? So it's as simple as that. That's, if you listen to even 2, 3, 4, 5 national wake-up calls, you start to kind of sense this theme of just kind of stick to the basics, don't overcomplicate things, just do these small little steps each and every day, and slowly they kind of start that snowball effect rolling down the hill, right? And there's your momentum. So with pushing play, that's an easy one, right? When we work out every day, it gives us the accountability to our challengers and our challenge groups. It gives us credibility and accountability with people that we're maybe interacting with through our social media channels, even with people we see at work or friends or things like that. When we work out, obviously there's the physical effects to it, but there's also some of the other effects of just, having more energy. Your endorphins are better so that you feel better, and people can typically notice that about you, right? The second one is drink a shake. So this is important. The thing I would want to caution, I guess, would be don't simply just post, the fact that you drink your shake. And I'm guilty of this too. It's typically I kind of fall back on just posting, hey, I drank my shake today, but providing some value with that, right? So what does Shakeology do for you? How does it make you feel? What are the positive impacts that it's had on you or your family or things like that nutritionally? Read a book. This one's huge. So I would consider the National Wake Up Call a form of personal development. And if you don't really do personal development or are still kind of figuring that out, don't wait. Just start. Just find something. And it could be as simple as starting with the National Wake Up Call, because seriously, they're packed full of tons of great advice. It could be reading a book, and I would try to find something that's going to help inspire and motivate you in your business. Some different authors or people that I really enjoy are people like John Maxwell, John Gordon, Rory Vaden, or some others, Patrick Lencioni, Michael Hyatt. There's tons of great knowledge and just inspiration and motivation out there. And if you just plug in for a little bit each day and just make some time for yourself, it pays huge dividends because it just affects your mindset. And honestly, when you replace watching a little bit of TV with doing some personal development, it's even that much more, because you're kind of filling your mind with things that are just going to drive you and fuel you and help you to get more done in a day, really. And lastly, start conversations. So we've talked about this one quite a bit over the past couple weeks, some different language or different ways to kind of frame it so that it makes you feel more comfortable in terms of starting conversations or inviting or cultivating relationships. So those are the 4 vital behaviors, and they're simple. I mean, it's very simple to comprehend those, but to do those consistently day in and day out, it's not easy. And that's kind of what sets people apart in this business. The people who are willing and able to do that day in and day out are the ones that you hear on the wake-up calls or you see on the top 10 trips to Italy and different things like that. So I want to kind of segue this now into, so how do we do this in a virtual setting on social media? Because that's where we live 90% of the time, right? There's maybe those few interactions that we get face-to-face or with family or friends where we get to kind of present the opportunity, verbally through a conversation. But largely, a lot of what we do is virtually. I mean, I'm talking to you guys on a Zoom call. So how do we kind of wrap our minds around running a virtual business? So if you're at all like me, I need to come up with a metaphor or an analogy so that I can kind of process this and kind of put it in its right place, right? So I like to think of, quite simply, just think of your virtual business as a storefront and how you approach social media and sharing content and value and things like that. So just kind of, if you want to draw pictures, that's totally cool too, whatever works best for you. But visualize your storefront. So if I'm, Sean's store, super creative name, right? So think about things like, what hours are you open? What days are you open? I mean, a lot of stores aren't open 365 days a year, 24/7. Some are, but a lot of them aren't, right? So we're not expecting you guys to be, pursuing this every second of every single day, ignoring your family, ignoring your priorities and things like that, right? We're trying to simply just, be consistent with the hours and the days that we show up, because that lets people know, okay, that, here they're consistent, they're plugging in, they're engaging, and they're showing up every day. So I know if I ever needed something, I can go to that person when it's convenient for me. Because when you want to go to a store, for example, you want to go when it's convenient for you, not when it's convenient for the store. That's kind of how this works, right? So another idea to kind of think about is, what do you sell at your store? And I don't mean just Beachbody, right? What I really mean is, when you think of a store, there's a lot of different products or different sections or departments or categories of this store, and you have that too. So if I'm thinking about Sean's store, I'm not just a Beachbody or a fitness coach. I mean, I was involved in sports in high school and things like that, and relatively active. But so people, when they look at me or, think of Sean, they don't necessarily just think of, well, he's like a health and fitness nut now, right? I don't even want them to think that. I want them to know that Beachbody is a part of who I am, and that there's value in that, and that's important to me, and that I share that because I think that it's valuable for other people. But there's other aspects of my life that I should be sharing as well. So for me, sharing things about my family is obviously very important to me. Sharing things about the Minnesota Vikings. I love the Minnesota Vikings, so I like to share about them, right? Things like that. So have variety in what you post about, because your brand is you. Your brand is not Beachbody, it's you. So if you're ever in a rut of thinking too, of what do I post about? I just posted about Sean Week already. I already drank my Shakeology. I drank my Energize today, did my workout. Now what do I post about? Post about you. Post about what makes you get up in the morning, whether it's your family, whether it's something that you're, a play date that you're going to, or going to the park, or going to the pool with your kids. That stuff is what people want to see on social media, because they want to see you. They don't just want to see one part of it. So I want to share a funny kind of anecdote to that. Gonna kind of, I don't know if date myself is the right word, but when I was a kid growing up, there's this cool show in Nickelodeon called All That. It was kind of like SNL, but for kids. And there's this bit where they had a store, and the store was called We Got Pants. And at that store, they literally sold one pair of pants. And so in the sketch, different people came into the store, and they're like, wait, this is the only pair of pants you sell? Yeah. And they were like, we got pants. And they're like, well, that's not the right size, or that's not the right look that I'm going for. And they didn't care, right? They just had the one pair of pants. So kind of a silly story, but don't box yourself into a corner with how you address your social media, because your virtual business is just you. So just post about everything that makes you you. And that's going to help people engage with you. That builds trust with people, to show that you're just not in it to just, push product, shove it in their face day in, day out. Okay. Also too, just simple things like when you walk into a store, it feels good to be greeted, right? So be welcoming in your page. Or when when you leave a store, when you purchase something, they probably thank you, or, you can ring the bell at Arby's for great service, right? So when people engage in your post, make sure that you engage back and thank them. Or if somebody likes your post and it was a vulnerable lead generator or something like that, where you felt like you really put yourself out there, go and find those people that liked it and just simply thank them for, encouraging you and supporting you in your journey, and that it means a lot to you, and, so on and so forth. The other thing too is, like, say you're going into a store and you're looking for something specific. Hopefully the person asks you some questions to help you find what you're looking for, right? And we need to make sure that we're doing that as well with our potential clients that we're talking to. As soon as they reach out to us, it's not just, hey, buy this, hey, buy this, hey, buy this pair of pants. It's, hey, what are your goals? What are you looking to do? Are you looking to lose weight? Or, are you looking for something that could potentially be a meal replacement and add more nutrition into your life? Different questions like that. So ask those types of questions. So the other thing I want to touch on briefly, I don't want to go too long. Maybe you guys have heard of this term a little bit, but it's called copywriting. Maybe not like the register logo after a logo or something like that. But copywriting is basically selling through the written word. So that's what we're doing a lot of times, right? Because we're running virtual businesses, we're practicing what's called copywriting. And so while it is important that on every post we're not asking for the sale, right? We want to give, ask. So provide value, provide other content, and then do your lead generator so that you have a good balance of giving value and asking for somebody to join your challenge group or to join your next free group that you're hosting, different things like that. So some things to remember with asking for the sale through written word would be things like making sure that you're defining the problem as much as you're defining the solution. So simply don't just tell people that you have the be-all, end-all for, fitness and nutrition, but help kind of uncover that problem for different people. And sometimes this can be difficult once we've kind of gotten to the other side ourselves a little bit of kind of that mindset and, having a good routine, fitness-wise and nutritionally. Sometimes we need to just take a step back and really put ourselves back to where we were. Maybe look at some old pictures, things like that, and to kind of reflect on how you felt in those moments. Miranda and I were talking too, and we kind of realized that over this past year, because we've been at this now for almost 2 years, is there's kind of cycles that people will even go through with different holidays and seasons, and really try to put yourself back. If you have something like Time Hop or Facebook Memories or whatever has been super on point for me lately, but looking at those old pictures and thinking, where you were mentally during those times. And then try to articulate that in your post of defining the problem and then kind of what that solution is after. So it's equally as important to define the problem as it is the solution. And then finally, in a lot of your other posts, if you're not asking for the sale or kind of however you want to quote it, make sure that you ask questions at the end of your posts, even simple ones, just like, what are you do? What are your favorite activities? Or, where would you go for something like this? Or what do you recommend? Different things like that. That's going to help create engagement in your posts, and that's going to give you some extra at-bats to start more conversations with people. So that was a lot. Sorry, I talked kind of fast. I was kind of into this one, but I hope that kind of thinking about your business as, using the analogy of like a physical storefront and the different things that you would expect from going to a place, to purchase something or to work with them to build that relationship. There's a lot of similarities that we experience, but sometimes it can be really difficult to be consistent and to kind of plug into those behaviors that we need to, because it just kind of feels different, and it feels like, well, I posted that once already, so, is it weird if I post it again? No, right? I mean, what we do is kind of simply push play, drink a shake, read a book, and start conversations. So we just kind of word it differently, but we're always kind of being consistent with what we post and how we share that with other people. If you guys want, we can do any Q&A or anything like that. I think I'm supposed to stop the recording of this so that we can post it. Miranda, do I just push stop?
Yep.
Okay.